Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I want to do a video today about failing, about why certain people continuously fail despite what seems like doing the right things, right? They're working hard. It seems like things are going bad against them, even though they're learning, they're working hard, they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, and a lot of and they're sticking it out or seemingly sticking it out for a long period of time. So what happens in that case? Because it's possible, right, to be working hard, okay, to be doing the right thing or some of the right things, okay, and to stick it out for a long time and still fail miserably and to end up at the end of the day not really having much to show for it, right? I mean, this is definitely possible to happen, and there's a lot of people that do this, and so it's interesting because I think a lot of people say to me sometimes, I've heard a lot of people saying, John, hey, look, it's great. You're telling people to work hard, right? You can check out my working hard playlist. You're fucking lazy, okay? Right? You're telling people to work hard. That's great. And you're telling them to not accept society's limitations on themselves and to live their dreams out and to, be an entrepreneur or think outside of the box, unscripted, right? As MJ DeMarco would call it. You can check out my interview with him, by the way. Here is always in the links in the description below as well. But you tell them these things, but it doesn't guarantee success. And in fact, there's a lot of people that say to me, and I've seen them, right? I'm talking specifically about a few people that I know that I've seen where it seems like they're doing all the right things, right? They're, like I said, working hard. They're doing a lot of the right things. They're consistent, right? They're committed. So why do they still fail? What is going on here, right? What is wrong? And so there's two things I think that I want to talk about that are critically important, because like I said, you can be doing a lot of the right stuff, but if you miss out on these two things, well, you can still fail horribly. And when I say failure, let me talk about what I mean by failure, right? We all fail. I fail all the time. I mean, seriously, I have at least one failure a day, right? I did this video about my failure journal, and I haven't been keeping a failure journal lately, but I may start that up again, but you can check that out. But where I was documenting my failures and then what I was learning from them. So when I say failure, I'm talking about failure with a lowercase f. I'm not talking about failure with a capital F. Failure with a capital F is when you sort of accept within yourself that you've become a failure. It's when you give up. You only fail with a capital F when you give up, right? But a lot of these people, they end up failing with a capital F because of stagnation, because they're not making progress or they're making backwards progress, and you wonder what's going on here. So I just want to make that clear, because failure, don't be afraid of failure, okay? Failure is important. It happens, and you should acknowledge it and accept it, and it's just a part of life. It's part of growing. It's the stepping stones that you need to get to the next level, okay? So, but let's talk about specifically, like I said, these people that stagnate, they don't get where they're going, they seem to be falling backwards, and they eventually fail with a capital F because they give up. All right, what happens in those cases? Right now, I'm going to weed out all the people that don't work hard, they're fucking lazy, they don't do the right things, they don't learn, they don't educate, they don't adapt, right? And they're not consistent or committed at all. Okay, those people, we know why they fail with a capital F, because they don't got the fucking grit. Okay, they need to come back and go through the school of hard knocks, and they need to learn a little bit of grit and toughen up a bit, right? Okay, so we know about those people, okay? But what about the others? So one of the big things that is going to take you down, okay, and this is one of the reasons why I create this channel, this is one of the reasons why I create these videos, right, is because if you don't have this, right, if you don't have, and what I'm talking about is the right mindset, then no matter what you're doing, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure, right? I mean, you can do all the right things, like I said, and you can work hard, but if your mindset is wrong, right, then you're going to have a problem, because what ends up happening in life, right? And this is one of those things that you could put in the woo-woo category. I mean, I'm going to recommend some books here. The classic book on this is Think and Grow Rich by Norman Vincent Peale, right? Yep, okay. This concept is basically that what you internalize, what you think about, is what you get, right? Who you are, right? And that determines what you get or what your outside world is, right? Your inside world determines your outside world. So if your mindset is one that's expecting failure, then you are going to bring that upon yourself, right? Because we tend to be consistent with what we believe about ourselves, right? Whatever we're dwelling on, whatever we're thinking about, okay, we're drawing those things to ourselves, right? Because that's what we're focusing on. That's the direction we're going. It's like, you know, when I was a kid, I was learning to play baseball, right? And my dad, he would say to me, you know, keep your eye where your head is, right? When I'm swinging the bat, that's where the bat's gonna go. Or when I'm throwing, where your eyes are focused, that's where the ball's gonna go, okay? And same thing with driving. When I was learning to drive, it's like, don't turn your head there because that's where your car is gonna go, right? And so it's the same thing here. It's like, if you think about it, right? From a very practical, pragmatic viewpoint, where you're looking, where you're focusing, is where you're going to go. And so if you're focusing on the negative, if you're focusing on you know, the bad things in the world, I'm being discriminated against. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but if you're focusing on that, if you're focusing on, I was dealt a raw fucking deal, or if you're focusing on all the wrongs in the world and this deck is stacked against me and I keep on screwing up and why is this so hard and all of these bad things, if that's your focus, okay, on the negative things, right? If you got vengeance in your heart, right? If you feel like you've got in such injustice to the world, it's not fair. If you feel that way, you're driving that direction. You're turning your head that way, right? And you're going to go that direction, right? I'm not saying that reality is fucking harsh. Let me explain to you, okay? I am not a person that puts on the rose-colored glasses and says, oh, everything's just grand and dandy, right? I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist optimist. What that means is that this is the truth about reality. It's a fucking dog-eat-dog world, okay? On top of that, we have, you know, tried to create some flower beds and plant some roses in there and some tulips and shit and try to pretend like it's not a fucking cutthroat dog-eat-dog world. But underneath it all, there's violence, okay? Underneath it all, might is right. Underneath it all, it's a survival of the fittest. Underneath it all, we're savages, okay? As much as we put suits and ties on and try to pretend like we're, you know, big boys and we're living the civilized world, underneath it all, just below the surface, is the savage fucking wild that we came from, all right? It's still there, okay? So I am not in any way a rose-colored glasses type of guy in that way, not deluding myself. But I will tell you that I decide in my mindset that I am going to fucking accept the world as it is, as this fucking dog-eat-dog world, and I'm gonna fucking be the Bulldog, right? Well, I guess I got a link to that video now on the fucking Bulldog, but I've decided that, right? And so that's why, that's the mindset you have to succeed. Like, you can be doing all the right things. It could seem like you've got all the right formula here, okay? But if you're missing the element of the mindset, then what's going to happen is that you're gonna fuck it up some way. You're gonna find some way to fuck it up because it's not consistent with your view of reality, right? We think reality should be this way, and so we make it into that way, and it's just an important concept that you have to understand. You cannot be negative. I don't know very many pessimistic, successful people. I really don't. I don't know many people that think the world is against them and shit always happens to them and they turn out being successful, right? Okay, so change that mindset, right? And I've given you some books that can help you do that. This channel obviously can help you do that, but that's one of the key things that causes a person to fail, even though they're seemingly doing the right things. You can't just follow the recipe for the cake and expect the cake to come out. You got to put some love into it. All right, as Martha Stewart might say. All right, so number two, okay, that was number one. Number two here, and this one's critical as well, is that these people, some of them even have the right mindset or from time to time. Usually they're infected by both of these things because the mindset, these things go together, okay? But the second thing is not sticking, is pulling your feet from the fire too soon, okay? Right, so there was, I'm going to butcher my history here, but who was that guy, who stuck his hand in the fire? I can't remember his name now. Man. Oh, let me think about this. What was his name? Man, if I weren't doing a video, I'd be able to recall it right away. But I'll just give you the story. You guys will fill in the name there. It'll come to me as soon as Cato, right? I think it was Cato. Okay, so no, it wasn't Cato. Cato tells a story. I don't know. Man, you know what? Let me just tell a story. Okay, I'll just tell a story. So anyway, this dude from history. From Greek and Roman history, he stuck his hand in the fucking fire. All right, and he did it himself. Okay, and this was when he was captured, and he said that every single fucking Roman will be willing to do the same, right? And he left his hand in the fire, is all like fucking gnarly, and burned up his hand. Like, that's the commitment level that he had. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you have to fucking stick your hand in the fire and burn it off, but you have to be willing to. You have to be willing to do this. And so what this means, like, let's bring this to the pragmatic and practical level. It means this, is that I see a lot of people, okay? And it's unfortunate, because I see them doing the right things. I see them at times having the right mindset, working really hard, being consistent, being committed for the most part. But then the shit gets tough. Okay, and it gets real tough. They get fucking depressed, right? How many times I've been depressed and, you know, felt like life is shit and whatever. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I've told you guys about this, right? I'm not going to link to videos here because you can look it up, but I've told you about this when this happens. You know this happens, right? It happens to me, it happens to everyone, right? And that's the critical moments in life. These are the critical moments, because when it's easy, okay, when everything is going smoothly, it's easy to keep going. It doesn't matter. Like, when you give up when it's all fucking smooth road, you're like, you know, it's, what are you doing? Like, you're not even cut out for this at all, right? It's like you're going for a fucking run and it's all flat and it's like, right? It's when, you know, I did this La Jolla marathon, half marathon, and we went up a fucking mountain for a long time. It was like a mile straight up, or maybe a mile and a half. And a lot of people gave up there. That's when it counts, though. That's when it matters the most, okay? So a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people trying to reach success, the reason why they fail with that capital F is because they, at that critical moment, right? When all is dark, right? When things seem the worst, they give in to the worst. They say it's over. I'm done. They give up. They go and play video games. They, you know, they basically abandon their mission, right? And this is hard. This is hard shit, right? But this is what you got to, like, I mean, you just got to realize that, you know, that expression, you're 3 feet from gold. When you're in the darkest time, many times when you're in the darkest time, not all the time, but many times when you're darkest time, that darkest hour, right? What does the darkest hour come before? From the dawn, right? The darkest hour comes before the dawn. And so if you can stick it out, if you can just reach a little bit further often and just fucking hang on, you'll make it. But I'll tell you what happens with these people is that every single time they're making momentum, they're about to, you know, they're making progress. They're going forward, they're pushing forward, they're doing good. Okay, and then some shit happens, all right, and it always happens, and it always happens. Like, there's always some shit that happens before you grow, before you break through and reach that next level, okay? And the shit happens, and every time they fucking back off, that's when they need to hit it harder. That's when they need to push into the hill, but they back off, and it's a repeated process. So then they have to rebuild again, right? And they don't get to the next level, so they climb all the way up the fucking mountain. Okay, and they're almost at the top, almost at the summit, and then they roll back down the hill. And then they climb all the way up the mountain, and the shit happens again, and they should expect it. Because every time you get close, you get swatted down, and you gotta stand strong there. That's what you're training for. The whole thing, the whole toughness, the whole purpose, the reason why you're training, the reason why this shit is hard, folks, is because you know that when you're near success, you're gonna get swatted down, and you gotta be able to withstand at that point. And that's the point where you don't feel like doing it. That's the point where you're depressed. That's the point where you have lost hope, where it doesn't seem like this is worth it anymore, where you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, but that's the point where you stand strong. And so those are the reasons why you can be doing all the right shit. And you can be working hard, and you can be doing smart things. You can be reading books, you could be learning, and you could be adapting. but you fail anyway, and you keep failing, and you eventually give up and fail with a capital F, it's because you can't, either one of two things, and probably both of them go together. One is that mindset. You don't have the mindset. You're causing the failure on yourself because you expect it to happen, okay? It's a horrible mindset to have. You got to have that positive mindset. You got to be able to fight through the pain and see that as growth, and see the struggles and challenges in life as obstacles that make you stronger. It's the flint that sharpens the steel, right? Is it the flint that sharpens the steel? Anyway, it's allowing you to sharpen your blade, okay? So that's number one. And then number two, like I said, is that you can't you can't pull your feet from the flame too soon. Let that sucker fucking cook a little bit, all right? Let it burn. It's gonna burn a little bit, but enjoy that burn. That pain says you're fucking alive. And that's what you're preparing for. That's why you're growing tougher. That's why you're getting stronger. That's why the mindset is so important, because it's gonna carry you through the times when all hope is gone. And you're always going to feel like that. But every time that you back away from that fucking flame, you're going to have to just get burned again. You're going to go through the flame, one way or the other. So you might as well be a willing subject. You might as well charge on through the fucking flame. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the cycle over and over again. All right, that's all I got for you today. I hope this is helpful to you. If it is, make sure that you share it with a friend, and click that subscribe button. Click the bell down below, bam, so that you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.